Caitlin Clark.
Emmanuel Acho, the house. When they talk about their bloated attendance numbers, they feed off of her and her of many people who came before Caitlin Clark. Most of them being where once upon a time the populace in this country was anywhere from 85 to 90% white. Clark, at least last year, we saw with our own two eyes the level of resentment and hostility. That's not because of what happens to her. I promise you, you're going to have a whole bunch of people that's going to resent it out there. It's going to affect television rating. That's what they're going to do. Doubt me if you want to. I'm not.
Let's start with the actual quote everybody's reacting to. Emmanuel Acho saying, "The W at this junction in time would be better without Caitlin Clark because she is a bigger distraction than she is an additive." That's not a paraphrase. That's not a clip taken out of context. That's Acho's real position on his own podcast, and it's exactly as bold as it sounds.
Things, even as things have changed, where once upon a time the populace in this country was anywhere from 85 to 90% white, and now that number has dissipated to 57% and sliding, which in my opinion has contributed to the angst, the hostility, and the polarization that has existed in this country, because you've got a whole bunch of folks in this country feeling like they're losing their way.
His actual argument is that Clark got the league over the necessary threshold, and now that the eyes are on the league, talent like Olivia Miles, Paige Buchers, and Kelsey Mitchell can carry it from here. Thank you, Caitlin. We can take it from here. I get the basketball logic he's reaching for, but that's a wild thing to say about a 24-year-old who hasn't even hit her prime yet.
America. And if you are gifted and white, you are more marketable than somebody who is gifted and of another ethnicity. It's just the truth. Even as things have changed, where once upon a time the populace in this country was anywhere.
And then he goes further. Unless we can take off our gloves for Caitlin Clark and stop trying to act like she's a messiah, the WNBA could and would be better off without her. Stephen A's reaction to that is exactly right. Acho sounds insane. Absolutely, positively insane. And he says it affectionately, respecting Acho as smart and thoughtful. Just completely wrong on this specific take.
And it's always going to be better for them before it's better for us. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. That doesn't mean that our society is racist and all of this other stuff, even though we've got some racist-ass people in this country, and we've got some prejudiced people in this country. By and large, I believe most people are just God-fearing American citizens trying to live their lives to the best of their abilities. Even though those elements exist.
Here's the receipt that actually settles this argument. Clark is the cash cow, full stop. 2 weeks after she enters the league, the WNBA gets chartered flights after years of flying commercial. Standard salaries range from $100,000 to maybe $300,000 if you're lucky, and Clark is pulling in over $16 million once you count endorsements. That's not a close comparison. That's a different universe of value.
Has annoyed people. That is what has gotten on their last nerves. Because if you've been pounding the pavement and doing all of this to build the sport all of these years, and then the second, the golden child arrives, who happens to be white, there's going to be resentment. But it's not towards Caitlin Clark.
Now, to be fair to the larger conversation here, Stephen A makes a point of saying Clark didn't build the WNBA. It was built on the backs of the players who came before her, and he specifically names Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu. That's an important, accurate acknowledgement, and it's worth sitting with instead of skipping past it.
Numbers, they feed off of her and her contribution. Now, I want to be very, very clear about what I'm about to say. Caitlin Clark did not build the WNBA. The WNBA was built on the backs of many people who came before Caitlin Clark, most of them being sisters, meaning black ladies. The Cynthia Coopers, the Cheryl Swoops of the world, the Lisa Leslies of the world, the Maya Moores of the world. List goes on and on. Don't get me wrong, I ain't forget Diana Taurasi.
And he doesn't skip Aja Wilson either. Flat out calls her the modern-day GOAT, a 3-time champion. She is all that. But then he draws the line that matters. The money, the ratings, the collective bargaining agreement that just got signed. All of that came after Clark arrived. Both things can be true at once. And that's the nuance Acho's take completely skips over.
Marketable. Let me throw out this stat to you so I make sure that you know it. Did you know this? Because it's very important that you hear this. Caitlin Clark, trying to find this here for you, just to make sure that I'm on top of it and I got the stat right. Because I believe she's missed more games since the start of last season. She's missed more games due to injury than she's played, like 33-30. That's not good for business.
This is where the conversation gets genuinely uncomfortable, and Stephen A. knows it. Bringing up Cooper Flagg as another example, saying being white doesn't hurt your marketability alongside elite talent. He's explicit that he's not talking about Acho specifically here, he's talking about America in general, and he wants people to sit with that discomfort rather than dismiss it outright.
Playing today, she is all that. Aja Wilson, 3-time champion. We get it. But the money, the bag, the ratings, the collective bargaining agreement that was just signed, all of that came after Caitlin Clark arrived. See, at some point in time, we got to accept what America is. I'm not telling you it's right.
When white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. That's the line he leans on to make his larger point about opportunity and marketability in this country. He's careful to immediately follow that up, saying this doesn't mean society is racist, that most people are just God-fearing American citizens trying to live their lives, and that real progress has been made even while these dynamics persist. That's a more careful, layered take than the soundbite alone suggests.
You're talking about salaries that range anywhere from $100,000 to, if they're lucky, $300,000 in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark making over $16 million because of the endorsement she gets off the court. When she goes to an arena, she packs the house. When they talk about their bloated attendance,
his actual thesis lands here. If you are gifted and white, you are more marketable than somebody who is gifted and of another ethnicity. It's just the truth. Whether or not you agree with how he frames it, he's not saying black athletes can't be marketable too. He immediately clarifies that, and he predicts Clark isn't going anywhere as long as she can still play, alongside naming Juju Watkins as the next player who's going to be a showstopper at this level.
There's nothing wrong with holding on to it, wishing it will occur, so long as you don't ignore what is. This is America. White sells. Wait till you see how much money Cooper Flagg gonna get. Don't let the Dallas Mavericks start winning. Cooper Flagg. Flagg is his last name. American flag.
Here's a stat that deserves way more attention in this entire conversation. Clark has reportedly missed more games to injury than she's played since the start of last season. Somewhere in the range of 33 missed to 30 played. That's not good for business. And honestly, that's probably the most concrete, defensible part of Acho's entire argument. Even if Stephen A. still lands on disagreeing with the overall take.
As long as Caitlin Clark can ball, Caitlin Clark ain't going nowhere. She gonna be somebody that's even more marketable. Let me throw out this stat to you so I make sure that you know it. Did you know this? Because it's very important that you hear this. Caitlin Clark, trying to find this here for you, just to make sure that I'm on top of it and I got the stat right. Because I believe...
And this is the part I think gets lost in every version of this discourse. The resentment isn't really about jealousy of what Clark can do on the court. Every rookie who comes in as the top pick, gets tested, gets humbled, has to earn their stripes. That's just competition, and it happens to everybody, as Chennedy Carter has said herself on this exact show.
As long as Caitlin Clark can ball, Caitlin Clark ain't going nowhere. She going to be somebody that's even more marketable. Let me throw out this stat to you so I make sure that you know it. Did you know this? Because it's very important that you hear this. Caitlin Clark, trying to find this here for you, just to make sure that I'm on top of it and I got the stat right. Because I believe.
But Stephen A's actual conclusion is the sharpest part of this whole segment. The resentment isn't really about Caitlin Clark at all. She's a symptom of the bigger problem, which is a society that's quick to celebrate anybody remotely great who happens to be white, without always appreciating the much longer, harder road other great players had to walk to get that same recognition. That's a heavier point than the league is better without her, and it deserved more attention than Acho's headline-grabbing quote got.
Caitlin Clark, trying to find this here for you, just to make sure that I'm on top of it and I got the stat right. Because I believe she's missed more games since the start of last season. She's missed more games due to injury than she's played, like 33-30. That's not good for business. I get what Emmanuel Acho is saying, talking about a distraction. But it's not good for business if Caitlin Clark is not available. She's missed more games.